So people often respond, when they hear about Scrum, to say, wow, there's all these different meetings that I have to go to now. And my response to that is that in fact, I was talking to a colleague who stopped calling them meetings. They called them ceremonies. And I was like, well, that just sounds like foo-foo to me. Another guy was saying that meetings at his company were just anathema. We don't have meetings. And so anytime something needed to be discussed, he would say, I just think we need to have a discussion about this. Are you willing to have a discussion with these people about this topic? And so they stopped calling them meetings and they called them discussions, and then everybody was happy about it. So sometimes the word meeting gets a kind of a negative connotation. Really, in Scrum, what we say is that, or the way I look at it is that the team is in this together, and the team needs to make a commitment to something, and we need to have a discussion about what are we going to commit to. That's the purpose of that first meeting, that sprint planning meeting. The purpose of that daily Scrum meeting is the same thing. We're in this together. If I were to do this individually, I might do it this way and it might take me this amount of time. Whereas if I talk about it in the daily Scrum meeting, somebody might have this idea to say, hey, you're going to do it this way. It might take you a couple of days, but why don't you and I work on it together and we can get it done in a couple of hours. And so teams actually, once they've used this for a while, if they're doing Scrum kind of like you're supposed to do it, they start to see a lot of benefit from these really short kind of time-boxed meetings, and they start to say, oh, okay, now I get why we're doing this so frequently, right? So all of the meetings have a really specific goal, and if they're facilitated well, it's pretty rare that we have somebody who is pretty resistant to the meetings after they've experienced how they do it. What people hate is wasting time, and in meetings that aren't run well, it can often just feel like a waste of time. Like, what am I even doing here? Let me go check my Facebook here, or whatever they're doing, right? When meetings have a real clear goal and they're well facilitated, and it's actually important that all those people be there at that meeting, then they actually feel like a productive use of time. So in Scrum, we really focus on trying to make our meetings the minimal set that we need with only the right people there. And we have a specific facilitator role in Scrum called the Scrum Master, whose job it is to make sure that those meetings are running well, that we're not getting off track, that we're not taking longer than we should, to make sure that the meeting is actually productive. And then people tend to not mind them at all.